This is your before and after story, where your first steps towards a new life-changing career begin. Southeastern College can take you there. We offer in-demand hybrid and online programs with hands-on training, led by in-field career professionals, and career services to put you on the path to a rewarding and fulfilling future. This is where your transformation begins. Southeastern College, your future is bright. Visit sec.edu to get started.
This is VSiN PrimeTime. Live from the Circus Sportsbook in downtown Las Vegas on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Hour number 4 of VSiN PrimeTime, live from the Circus Sportsbook in downtown Las Vegas. That's Matt Youmans. I'm Tim Murray. Halftime in Minnesota, and the Oklahoma City Thunder, an 8-point lead over the over the Minnesota Timberwolves, as OKC a -6.5 favorite, juiced -20, and total up to 233.5, a move of 14 points from where we were to start the game. On the ice, Matt, 2 periods in the books. Bit of a surprise here. The Carolina Hurricanes on the brink of elimination, lead 1-0. The Florida Panthers, if you think, can bounce back and pull off the victory here. Plus 185 was the last check I saw at Circa. Plus 160, the current price at DraftKings. So,
I certainly have my doubts about the Carolina Hurricanes showing up tonight. Looked like they were headed for a sweep. I did not bet the game, Tim, but again, how many consecutive losses?
15.
For the Hurricanes in the Eastern Conference Finals, right?
15 straight losses in the Eastern Conference Finals.
They're trying to stop one hell of a losing streak tonight in South Florida, where the Panthers, you would think, want to close this out and just start preparing for the Stanley Cup Final for the 3rd year in a row.
So right now, 1-0 the score there. Sergei Bobrovsky in net has done well, as he has been peppered with shots, but did let one slip through in that second period. Frederik Andersen has only been attempted or shot on 12 times so far here this evening for the Carolina Hurricanes, as he is back in net after getting pulled for game number 3. Game number 3. So 1-0 the score as they head to the third period. Total, by the way, in that one, closed 5.5, juiced under, and right now that current number is 3.5, minus 195 to the under. So if you think we see some goals, plus 150, over 3.5 if you think 2 or more goals will be scored. Actually, 3 or more goals will be scored in that period. So, Matt, we've got, once again, the NBA, 65-57 right now is the score. And, we talked about an opportunity to jump in game. For me, I don't feel it right now for the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I think one of the big reasons is Anthony Edwards, whether it's his own doing, defensive efforts by Lou Dort, Alex Caruso, etc., his adjusted in-game point total is down to 19.5. He has attempted 2 shots from the field, and he has 4 points.
All right, so Game 3, the T-Wolves come out and blow the Thunder out from the start. Anthony Edwards just seized the moment, right? He took control. He had 30 points and didn't play the fourth quarter. Julius Randle had 24 off a bad game, too. Those guys combined for 54 points in Game 3. Right now at halftime, Randle and Edwards combined for 9 points. 5 for Randle, 4 for Edwards. And that's basically holding me back from betting the T-Wolves live here, too. I just don't like what I'm seeing. OKC is 10 for 24 from three-point range. And the 2 stars for the T-Wolves, not doing much here. Julius Randle, Anthony Edwards, kind of taking the half off. A combined 2 for 6 from the field. So I'm probably going to pass on any bet on Minnesota right now.
Well, the MVP is stepping up in game number 4. This from Law Murray, who covers the Clippers for the Athletic. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's 21 points tied his career best for a first-half scoring in the postseason. He set that last year in Game 6 of the Western Conference semis. It's Gilgeous-Alexander's first 20-point first half since he scored 21 in the first half about a month and a half ago against the Lakers. So 21 for SGA. Also, I'll point this out. You and I are watching the game as much as we can. This was noted on Twitter from someone said, I agree that in Game 1, Shai got a good whistle. It was annoying to watch. Tonight, He's playing aggressive and getting legit fouled. That was one observation out there on old social media. So second half, Matt, about to get underway in Minneapolis. 65-57. The T-Wolves trying to avoid going down 3-1 against the 1 seed in the Western Conference.
Again, actually, ESPN just threw the graphic up there. Edwards and Randall, 54 points in Game 3 tonight, 9. And that's a discouraging sign. That said, T-Wolves still hanging around here, like you said, down 8. And we got a lot of basketball left to be played. So
it's one of those things.
Quickly these NBA games can change.
Well, we said this as Alex Caruso hits a corner 3. That's not the way you want the half to start there if you're Minnesota.
Alex Caruso's was a great pickup by the Thunder.
I mean, that trade, and I know Josh Giddey had his moments in Chicago, and to be honest, like if you're Chicago, Alex Caruso doesn't make a ton of sense for you, right? You're a fringe playoff team. You live in the play-in tournament. Alex Caruso makes sense for a team like Oklahoma City, for a contending team. And, the Lakers letting him go was a massive mistake. And he is really playing exceptionally well and exactly what you need.
Now the Lakers are talking about maybe trading Austin Reeves.
Well,
you're going to let Alex Caruso go and you're going to trade Austin. What are you doing?
I don't know. They need someone to play defense there, so we will.
Exactly. And see, here's another thing. If OKC Thunder, you're going to start talking about if the Thunder win this championship, how many, Tim, could they win in the next 5 years?
Yep.
Got a ton of draft picks. Got a bunch of great young players. If you're going to beat OKC and get out of the West, you better find yourself a couple of defensive stoppers that you can put on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about it. As Jalen Williams also not too bad himself as he misses a layup there. So 9-point lead for Oklahoma City. By the way, the third period underway.
Oh, look at that. Anthony Edwards just split the double team, split 2 defenders, got right to the rim and scored. That's what I'm talking about. You can't put one defender on this guy and just shut him down. You can't tell me he can't get his shots off. Did you see that move, Tim?
I did.
Who can stop that?
And here's the thing, man. I just put it down here on this sheet. 19.5. 19.5 was the number heading into the second half for Ant's player prop. I'm curious to see if that ultimately goes over, if we see an aggressiveness from Anthony Edwards. That's a hell of a pass. And Mike Conley Jr. hits it from the corner, and boom, just like that. We got a 4-point game, boys and girls, 68-64. And why? Anthony Edwards is being aggressive. He had a great pass to the corner to Mike Conley, who shoots the ball tremendously well from home. And after Alex Caruso, Matt hits a early 3, 7-0 run here for Minnesota, and it's a 4-point game. This thing is far from over at the Target Center.
We've talked about how quickly these NBA games can change, and it was I think it's Tom Thibodeau talking about how no lead is safe, right? 20-point leads aren't safe. T-Wolves just scored 7 points, a 7-0 run in a minute 50 seconds. That's how quickly this whole live betting picture can change as well. 4-point game right now. OKC down to a 3.5-point favorite. And minus 188 on the money line. So T-Wolves right back in it. And like you were talking about, Tim, it's all about Anthony Edwards. He's going to make this team go, get them over the hump if they do. And he's got to be a lot more aggressive here in the second half than he was in the first. And so far, so good here in the second half, first couple minutes for Edwards.
Yeah, I like what I see right now from Anthony Edwards. And the number was 7.5, 6.5 just a moment ago, down to 3.5. Quick update from the ice. 2 minutes into the third period, the Carolina Hurricanes on a power play right now, and they lead 1-0 under 18 minutes to go in that third and final period. The Hurricanes trying to force a Game 5 and avoid a sweep at the hands of the Florida Panthers. Right now, that live line out to plus 175 for the Panthers, minus 230 for the Canes. And if you think you're going to see some goals here, plus $2 over 3.5. 1.5 is the puck line if you are looking at the Carolina Hurricanes. So, Matt, while we have a break, I noticed a couple more entries trickling in to Circa Survivor as a live look over our shoulder. 83 people into Circa Survivor right now and 38 in Circa Millions. So the countdown is on to the overlay for
I'm pretty confident that Circa Survivor is going to top 15 million.
Yep, I agree.
And Circa Million, who knows? I think a lot of handicappers, a lot of people get intimidated by how tough it is to win the Circa Millions contest. It's one of the survivors got a bigger prize pool. Let's take a shot at that. So I'm not sure if you're going to get to $6 million or over 6 in the million contest, which is a contest I like better, but it's also the tougher one for a lot of people to think they can cash in. The big contest Derek Stevens introduced, $100,000
Grandissimo.
Grandissimo's got one entry. It really doesn't make any sense to sign up for that contest until the last minute, the last week. I don't think you're going to have many entries. Once we get to August, I don't think you're going to have many entries in that contest. You might have a few trickle in. People want some notoriety on social media. Hey, look, I put the $100,000 in to enter to Grandissimo, thinking that's going to be, marketing basically for some of the touts or people out there who want fame on social media. Otherwise, I don't think it makes a lot of sense. Wait to see what the overlay is going to be. Why put your $100,000 into the sports book in May when you can wait until August to do it? Tim, I would think the entries are going to show up at the latest for the Grandissimo contest, right?
Matt, what would be nice? Having a free entry into Circa Survivor.
How could you get that? Oh, I think you'll say Grandissimo.
Oh, no.
How do you get a free entry?
Not Grandissimo.
Okay.
But our friends are over at Winner Circle Proxy, Matt, are giving away one free $1,000 entry to each contest plus full proxy service. And get this, you'll be paired maybe with Matt Youmans, a VSiN host for strategy all season long. Enter now for your chance to win. Just visit winnerscircleproxy.com/VSiN. I'll read it again. winnerscircleproxy.com/VSIN. And they are giving away one free entry to both Circa Millions and Circa Survivor. winnerscircleproxy.com/VSiN. 1-0 the score in Sunrise, Florida. The Panthers on a power play. Can they tie things up? Also, Matt, it's getting close. 70-66 the score. Thunder, a 2.5-point favorite.
This is VSiN PrimeTime on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
All right, folks, we might have ourselves a Game 5 in the Eastern Conference Finals as the Carolina Hurricanes, they are now challenging the goal. Let's see if everyone was on sides, but it is 2-0 currently. We'll see if this goal does stand. But while we wait for that, update you on Minnesota and OKC and the Oklahoma City Thunder leading by 9 now with us.
It was 2 a moment ago. Wasn't it 68-66?
And just like that, man, you could have got, as we went to break, Oklahoma City was minus 2.5 on the live line. It's now back up to 6.5. 75-66 is the score. I think Rudy Gobert's about to head to the free throw line here. But
Anthony Edwards just had, last minute or so, just had 2 wide open looks from 3, and both rimmed out. But he's been a lot more active here so far in the third quarter.
I believe the goal has been overturned in Sunrise. So the goal is off the board, and it was 2-0. And a challenge wipes the goal off the board as it looks like Carolina was offside. So 1-0 remains the score, and now the live line has reverted back. Still, Carolina a significant favorite at minus 270, but Florida alive at $2, plus $2 to come back as that goal wiped off the board with 13:34 to go in the third period, Matt.
Yeah, I think you could still take that plus price with the Panthers and feel okay with the bet, right? A team that went off, a home favorite to went off at minus 180. Mm-hmm. The price is, what's it up to now?
$2, plus $2.
One goal down for a team like this with all this time to play.
New life.
It's tempting. It's tempting.
Life after the offsides call wipes the goal off the board. So
a 2-0, you're not going to touch it.
No.
But one goal.
My question would be this, and look.
Not much.
I guess you could ultimately get screwed if.
Wow, look at this. 77-73. T-Wolves rip off 5 straight points here. To get right back in, it was a 9-point game. Now a 4-point game. OKC 3.5-point favorite. Total 233.5.
It's been a hell of a game, Matt. It really has. I mean, you mentioned it with the Pacers-Knicks series, as good as that has been.
That's been great.
And this series right now, we've had some blowouts, obviously. Saturday was, I liked it. You liked it because it got us a winner. But this game tonight has been very entertaining. The shot making has been elite. And both these teams just not going away, as Minnesota just a moment ago down, 9? And now right back to 4-point deficit.
And the Thunder not going to score in this trip, apparently. 77-73. I'll tell you one thing Minnesota's got a better job of is defensive rebounding. You're giving OKC too many second looks here. And in fact, the second look just was converted into a three-pointer a minute ago. Minnesota gets a defensive stop. Now the crowd's fired up. Anthony Edwards into the game. We got a 4-point game, 5 minutes to go in the third quarter.
All right.
5 lines down to 2.5 on OKC.
All right.
Now it's a 1-point game. We've got a 3-pointer from the T-Wolves, and we have a 77-76 game. Live line is OKC minus 1.5. Right.
Let's bring in the stopper. Caruso. Yep. Bring him back in. 77-76. 3 is about to be hit here on this possession from the Minnesota Timberwolves. So here we go, folks. Buckle up. This thing not over yet. Anthony Edwards, good pass to the corner to the big Ragu, Dante DiVincenzo. He's been pretty poor this whole series, Matt, and he's come to play here tonight. 10 points for Dante DiVincenzo off the bench. His previous performances had not been great, but Oklahoma City doing what they tend to do. It's SGA, and once he gets in the paint, man, that's a pretty tough shot to stop.
That's a sweet turnaround, tough to stop. We've had runs here. T-Wolves 7-0. We had the Thunder ripping off 7 straight. Now the T-Wolves ripping off 8 straight again. And how about another 3 from the corner?
The Dante DiVincenzo.
So we have an 11-2 run here for the T-Wolves to tie this game at 79.
Man, this game.
Yeah, OKC now 1.5-point favorite live. And money line 130. So, Tim, is this your buy low spot on the Thunder? What do you think?
What are we looking at for OKC?
Money line minus 130.
I'm pulling it up right now on Circa. Would you say so? It's been hard to gauge this game. I tend to think this might be the buy low spot right now as I pull out the in-game minus 130. What would you say, Matt?
Well, it's tempting about the Thunder at this point, but the T-Wolves are playing such a good third quarter.
But you wonder, too, and I know Will Hill is kind of championed this.
Yeah.
After you make that big run, is that you add a gas there?
It could be. We got a timeout in the 4 now. A lot of times you make that big run, tie the game, then you have a timeout, and then the momentum shifts the other way.
Just moved to 150.
What did? OKC?
Yeah.
DraftKings minus 140. What are you trying to bet? Circa?
I was going to bet it.
Circa?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 130. It looked like the where the price bottomed out on the Thunder, minus 130. Now you see minus 150.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You snooze and you lose, boys and girls, live betting,
I feel like OKC's still going to win this game. But who knows, Tim? A couple minutes from now, you might be able to get
I'm going to wait.
A plus price on
Maybe.
OKC. If the T-Wolves, Anthony Edwards has brought it here in the third quarter. T-Wolves played with a lot more energy. So how about in the fourth quarter, do you think Edwards is probably going to sit the first couple minutes of the fourth quarter? Is that when the momentum switches and OKC takes it back? So you got to try to figure, because Edwards is not going to go to the bench now. He's going to play the last 4.5 minutes of the third.
It's funny. And Edwards still has just 6 points, but he's facilitating, and he's had a couple of great assists. 1 kick to the corner from Mike Conley, open 3. Dante DiVincenzo 3 just a moment ago.
And he missed 2 wide open threes that rimmed out.
Yeah. So right now, it's funny how yesterday played with the comeback from the New York Knicks, and obviously a lot of it had to do with Karl Anthony Towns, but we played the clip from Tyrese Halliburton applauding the bench for the New York Knicks. How about the bench tonight from Minnesota, Matt? Dante DiVincenzo, 13 points. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, 14 points. Terrence Shannon, who was great on Saturday night. He's got 7 points in just 5 minutes of action tonight. And Naz Reid, you're still waiting for, and you mentioned this earlier in the show, we're waiting for that Naz Reid game here at some point.
Where he hits like 5 or 6 threes.
Yeah.
And, has not happened for him in this series, but luckily for the T-Wolves, are getting some other guys to step up and make some shots tonight.
Quick update.
Think about this, Tim.
Yeah.
If you knew at this point in the game that Anthony Edwards would have 6 points and that Julius Randle would have 5,
I think that's where I'm worried.
How much would you have bet on the Thunder tonight?
Doesn't that make you worried, though, about having the Thunder in game, though? But here's the thing.
I'm not going to jump in just because I'm sitting on the fence. I don't know what to do with this game right now.
Minus 130 got, boom, blasted at Circa to minus 50. And DraftKings now minus 145.
I agree. I still feel like the Thunder are going to win the game, but seriously, Randall's got 5. Edwards has 6. We're late in the third quarter, and we have a tie game.
Yeah.
So a lot of guys stepping up for the T-Wolves, including DiVincenzo with 2 threes right there.
By the way, the Florida Panthers on a power play right now, a minute to go in that power play. 1-0 the score. The Carolina Hurricanes trying to avoid elimination tonight. And the Panthers, with 10:34 to go, are trying to get that sweep. Hey, Matt, we got a lot of great podcasts over on the VSiN Podcast Network.
How about the college football podcast?
That's a great one, might I add. We've got a couple episodes out right now. But we also have the VSiN Morning Bets podcast, which you can get anywhere you get your podcast. The Daily Morning Bets podcast is fast, focused, and built for bettors like you. Listen to the VSiN Daily Morning Bets podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Also, while you're there, the VSiN College Football Betting podcast. Last week, Matt, really good conversation with Matt Grill, who we have on the show every week. We went in depth, went over 50 minutes with Matt Grill, talking week 0, week 1 lines, future movement, all of that. And also Bruce Feldman, longtime college football reporter, was on an episode as well. So the VSiN College Football Betting Podcast, Matt, we're less than 90 days away from week 0.
You and I are fired up. We're making plans to go to Stanford, Hawaii.
Oh, that's going to be great. Hopefully.
On August 23rd.
Fingers crossed. Yes, August 23rd. How about the day starting in Dublin, Ireland, with Farmageddon, Kansas State, Iowa State, and it ends on the island. We don't know what time the kickoff of Hawaii and Stanford will be. Kansas also plays in week 0 as well. Oklahoma City Thunder. You snooze, you lose, ladies and gentlemen. Now minus 250
up
favorites.
5. 84 to 79. You got a 3-pointer here that's going to fall for the Thunder. They go up 5 just like that.
Man, I had it, and it said, line has changed to minus 150. I'm hold off. And now it's a 5-point lead for the Oklahoma City Thunder as the bald one, Alex Caruso, from the corner. 84-79 the score there. 3 minutes to go in the third quarter, and the Oklahoma City Thunder minus 315 favorites. They were just minus 130. 8 and change to go on the ice, third period. Carolina killed another penalty power play. They lead 1-0. Let's talk some college baseball with Aaron Moore next. Closing seconds of the third quarter, and the Oklahoma City Thunder with a 5-point lead right now. Just a moment ago, Matt, Anthony Edwards with a phenomenal drive to the bucket and a 2-hand finish. Didn't get the dunk, but a strong 2-hand finish there.
I would actually say he was flying, not driving.
Yeah.
He flew over Caruso and one other defender. That was a Michael Jordan-type move to the rim. And Anthony Edwards now at the free throw line, 88-84 with 42 seconds to go in the half. And T-Wolves now 4.5-point underdogs. The money line on OKC minus 260.
On the ice, real quickly, before we get to our guest, Aaron Moore, the professor. 1-0 is the score. Carolina with the lead. If you think the Hurricanes will get an empty netter at some point, plus 130 on the puck line, they are out to a minus 810 favorite to beat the Florida Panthers here tonight. Earlier in the show, Matt, we talked a little college baseball with Matt Grissom, and let's continue that going as it is Selection Monday for college baseball. Aaron Moore already has an article up on vsin.com looking at his best bets, and we're going to go through some of them right now. So, Aaron, let's jump right into it. Always appreciate you jumping on. The Tallahassee region is one that I saw a couple people talking about. So Florida State is going to host that region, and they're a now minus 125 favorite. So some money has come in, I think, since you bet it. Northeastern's the 2 at plus 230, Mississippi State at 3-1. Who do you like coming out of the Tallahassee region?
Well, Tim, I do like the home Seminoles here in this situation in Tallahassee. A minus number, and you have to be ready to play some minus numbers with these regionals because it's very much weighted towards the home team, in this case, the regional host team. I like this situation where you've got Bethune-Cookman is the 4th seed in the Tallahassee region. They pose absolutely no threat to Florida State. So Jamie Arnold, the star left-handed pitcher for FSU, he's going to go in Game 2, and he'll face Northeastern or Mississippi State in Game 2. So it sets up very well for those teams in the regional that can host and then have their number 1 starter pitch the second game. It's just a really big advantage.
All right, Professor, you talked about you've got to lay prices here because you're going to get some big favorites coming in. Let's talk about the SEC. 13 teams in the field, very similar to the NCAA basketball tournament here. But you're going to lay a price on the SEC teams to win the College World Series. What is the best price out there?
So I see minus 295, Matt, and I would love to be able to give you a bet and a best bet that had a plus number next to it. But in this case, I think the minus 295 is a very good value. That if you looked at the probability of this, it's about 58% of the time that minus 295 is going to win. I think that number really needs to be the probability around 70%. As you said, there's a number of SEC teams in the field. 8 of them are hosting regionals. You have a you have a conference with a built-in advantage. Now you look at minus 295 before a tournament starts and you say, well, I don't want to lay that money. It's a lot of juice, blah, blah, blah. Well, I think in about 2 or 3 weeks, you're going to look back and say, whoa, I could have had an SEC team to win this tournament at minus 295. In a couple of weeks, you're going to look at some value in this. So as you said, Matt, you got to lay numbers, and this is a number that I think is really good to look at in all those teams you get. So with that minus 295, you get Vanderbilt, you get Auburn, you get Arkansas, you get LSU. It goes down the line. It's a number I think that's worth playing, even though it's pretty big.
I was going to say Vanderbilt's the number 1 overall seed. When you looked at the brackets, which SEC teams did you think had the best draws? You did not mention Tennessee there, I don't believe. Do you like Tennessee's draw?
Yeah, I do like Tennessee's draw, and it will be interesting if there is a super regional with Tennessee and Arkansas. That is going to be must-see television with those coaches and the relationship that they have. I think from an easy draw standpoint, Arkansas, Texas, Vanderbilt, you look at those teams, very likely they're on their way to Omaha. And how many teams then get to Omaha from the SEC? In the article I have on VSiN.com, I said a book should lay the number total 4.5 SEC teams. I'd gladly take the over there because Vanderbilt has an easy draw. Auburn has an easy draw. And then you go to Tennessee, LSU, a number of them should get there, Matt.
Aaron Moore joining us right now. As mentioned, he's got an article up right now on VSiN.com. Very extensive article, so make sure you check that out before you start diving into all the college baseball betting. I do want to get back to some of your regional bets, but you mentioned the market to make the College World Series. DraftKings has one up right now. It's one way, so you can't bet a no, but when you look at it right now, a couple of the teams that you mentioned, Vanderbilt being the number 1 overall seed, they're at a plus 120 price. Texas is at plus 145. Arkansas, you've got to lay a price at minus $1.60, but they are around $7 favorites to win their regional. So when you look at that market, Aaron, who are some teams jumping out to you at their current price to take a shot at to make the College World Series?
From those SEC teams, Tim, you mentioned, I look at Vanderbilt, the number 1 seed. You're kind of getting an advantage here with having that number 1 seed with that number. So you've got them, you've got Auburn also. I think that's another good one to look at. And when you have to make the College World Series, realize there's 8 teams. You can make multiple bets. They can be around even money, and hopefully you cash a few of those tickets. It sets you up then if you're going to make bets during the College World Series, because remember, there will be another futures board. When the 8 teams go to Omaha, you'll see another futures board out there. And then when the 2 teams who are in the championship series play, you get to bet the winner of that championship series, whoever can take 2 out of 3 games.
The professor, Aaron Moore, with us talking college baseball. Aaron, I was out in Honolulu a few weeks ago, and I watched Monday Night Baseball. It was Oregon State at Hawaii, and the Beavers won that night. They were a top 10 ranked team at the time. Oregon State is on your list of best bets here. Let's talk about some of the plays you're going to make or have made on teams to win their regionals: Florida State, Clemson, and Oregon State.
So the interesting one here are the Beavers. You can get them minus 120 to win the Corvallis Regional. This one I really like, and you look at it from a value standpoint. Yes, they're the home team. They are hosting. I think the value comes here that the Oregon State was an independent, so they were really out of sight, out of mind for a lot of bettors in terms of also the media coverage. So you can get them minus 120. Interesting in there is to look at that odds board. TCU is the second team there, plus 140. TCU hot out of the Big 12. That plus 140 is one of the lowest for a second seed. And then you've got USC at plus 600 in the Corvallis Regional. USC was one of the last teams into the tournament. And St. Mary's at 22-1. Here's an interesting aspect of looking at this from a betting standpoint. I like Oregon State to win the Corvallis Regional. I'm willing to lay the minus 120. At the same time, if you look at all of those number 4 seeds in all of these 16 regionals, very, very unlikely any of them win. Evansville did it recently as of last year. But I would say St. Mary's at 22-1 has the best chance of winning of any of these 4 seeds. They did very well to end the WCC regular season and into the tournament. So if you're really looking for a crazy long shot, St. Mary's at 22-1 to win the Corvallis Regional, I don't think is out of the question. Still, I'm taking the favorite. I'm taking the Beavers minus 120.
Once again, Aaron Moore joining us here. So people want to take those long shots. Once again, your best bets. You like Florida State, Clemson, Oregon State. We're showing those. We were talking about this a little bit off air, so I want to bring it to air here. The Oxford Regional is hosted by Ole Miss, who made the run to the SEC Championship. They lost to Vanderbilt 3-2 on Sunday. They're a minus 105 favorite. And then you've got Georgia Tech at plus 150. Western Kentucky, Aaron, at plus 470 intrigues you. Why?
I made a small little bet on the Hilltoppers here, Tim, for the reason that you can get them at plus 470. And you look at this Western Kentucky team. They are a veteran team, a lot of JUCO transfers. As a team, they hit 315. They have 2 very good starting pitchers in Jack Bennett and Drew Whalen. So they have 2 starting pitchers that can go against 2 teams in that regional, while some teams might only have 1 starting pitcher. And I look at what is the possibility of Georgia Tech. They are the second team in that regional on the odds board, plus 150. There was every expectation the ACC regular season champs would host a regional. They didn't. If you saw the video today of the Georgia Tech players, they looked upset. Maybe that upset feeling and having to travel to Oxford might have some residual effects. I'm willing to play here the plus 470. I think it's a great number on Western Kentucky, who might even be underseeded. They could even possibly be a 2 seed.
Aaron Moore, the professor. Check out his article right now up on VSiN.com, and he's going to be contributing all throughout the college baseball tournament. Appreciate it, Aaron.
You got it, guys. Good luck to you.
There he is. Aaron Moore, good stuff there. Good stuff going on in Minnesota, Matt. Ooh, buddy. 99-94 right now. Minnesota just cut it to 3 a moment ago, and Oklahoma City right back to increase the lead. 5-point lead right now. We'll get you updated on Minnesota and Oklahoma City, and it's all she wrote in Florida. Carolina's going to win that one.
This is VSiN PrimeTime on VSiN, the sports betting network.
It is VSiN PrimeTime here on a Monday evening. Final segment of the show. That's Matt Youmans. I'm Tim Murray. The Carolina Hurricanes, for the first time, Matt, since June 1st, 2006, have won a game in the Eastern Conference Finals, snapping a 15-game losing streak. The Canes score a couple empty netters, and they win 3-0. So there will be a Game 5 in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Let me give you a tweet from Scott Seidenberg, who is a host of this show. Scott goes solo on Wednesday nights. Typically here, he says he's a big hockey handicapper, better. Loves to talk hockey. Scott Seidenberg, quote, Panthers are playing like a team with a 3-0 series lead. No urgency at all. Should have seen this one coming. Fell into the trap of how dominant they have been and how bad the Canes have been. But the energy is pretty one-sided tonight. It is a little bit surprising, you got to say, with how dominant the Panthers have been. Chance to close it out, go get some rest before the Stanley Cup final, that they went out tonight and laid an egg and got beat 3-0 by this Carolina Hurricanes team.
So the question begs now, Matt, as we'll get you an update here in just a moment, does Florida now close it out on the road? Minus 120, the early line there. Florida minus $1.20.
I don't claim to be an expert hockey handicapper, so I'm going to pass on that question.
All right, let's update you right now before we get to our best bets. And Matt's got one in the hopper for tomorrow night, Pacers and Knicks. This thing, man, it has been a heck of a game, a lot of fun to watch. 8 minutes to go, Matt, in the fourth quarter. Naz Reid headed to the free throw line right now for the Minnesota Timberwolves. 101-98. He's going to hit both of these free throws. Money line still pretty juicy for Oklahoma City. So if you think the T-Wolves can pull off the comeback, Matt, plus 210 right now is the number. And we are inching closer to officially cashing your over. I didn't bet it, but if someone out there did bet the over, 219.5. Right now your live number, 237.5. But the Thunder, every time, Matt, the Minnesota Timberwolves do something, here comes OKC with the response. I got to give them a lot of credit. They take a lot of criticism for offensive, efficiency. I would say in this game here tonight, they have done a really nice job responding to almost every punch that Minnesota has thrown.
Yeah, by the way, player prop alert. If you've bet Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he's at 29 points. We've got about 8 minutes to go, so pretty good chance he's going to get over those numbers tonight.
Especially how much he gets to the line.
Yeah, 103-100 is where we stand. OKC, 3.5-point favorite. Juice attached, that's minus 125. Boom, up to 4.5. Now it's 105-100. You kept talking about every time
so quick.
The T-Wolves, look at that move by Anthony Edwards to get the bucket. He gets to the rim. And OKC answers with 2, so it's 105-100. 5.5 is now the live line. The money line now is minus 500. You tried to get in at minus 130. It's just a little bit too slow.
It moved to $1.50, and I'm like, nah. Oh, why would I do that? And now it's $5 right now for Oklahoma City. The Ant prop in game was 19.5 at halftime, and now sits at 12. So he's at 12, excuse me. So. That is something we're keeping an eye on there. 7:11 to go, Matt, in the fourth quarter. It's been a heck of a game, 105-100, and another 3 is coming for the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think Jalen Williams is going to hit this one. He's got 26 points tonight. He has been fantastic.
Jalen Williams, who played where?
He played at Santa Clara, right?
Yeah. Santa Clara.
WCC.
Yeah.
Fighting Steve Nash's, the Broncos. All right.
My
Matt,
betting screen showing 107-100.
Oh, it was Chet Holmgren, excuse me, who hit a 3. Maybe I think they're gonna review that, and it might be a 2 if your betting screen says 107-100.
A lot of time left here, though. 107-100. 7 minutes left in the game. 5.5 is
the only
number 5 minus 540 now.
I would think about maybe getting in on Minnesota. My worry is
I don't think you would on the money line because, like you said, every time the T-Wolves make a run, OKC has an answer.
And my question is, Matt, and you mentioned this already, the free throws at the end that could ultimately bite you in the rear end. I'm going to pull up Circa, see if we get a different number here. By the way, we're going to give you our best bets, and Matt, while I look and see if this is going to be a best bet for me, thankfully we cashed a best bet already. First period under, which was nice to bring that home. You've got a best bet. As always, our best bet's brought to you by G-Bank. Tomorrow, Pacers and Knicks.
Yeah, let's go with Indiana here. And I think the main reason for this is Pacers blew a 20-point lead in Game 3. I thought they were coasting. They should have coasted to the win. They kind of fell asleep at the wheel. And Tyrese Halliburton said something important. In the second half, he stopped pushing the pace. He was catching himself walking the ball up the floor. Pacers scored 42 points in the second half. That's inexcusable. At home, when you're up 2-0 in a series, we've seen it with the Florida Panthers tonight. You see this occasionally where a team is up in a series and just kind of loses that urgency, stops attacking. Pacers stopped attacking. They also stopped knocking down open shots last night in the second half. And the three-point shooting was a big deal. Pacers 5 for 25 from three. I think betting market's a little bit off here. Knicks lose Game 1 as 4.5-point favorites. They're 6-point favorites in Game 2. Pacers lose a home game on Sunday night, Game 3, and now they're only 2-point favorites in Game 4. I think line's a little bit disrespectful. The Knicks are getting a little bit too much respect here. I'm going to go Pacers -2. I think the Pacers win Game 4, go back to New York, Knicks win Game 5, and let's
get her over 5.5.
Back to Indianapolis for Game 6. I think that's the way this is going to set up. I do like the Pacers to win tomorrow night. I think the mistakes they made and the shots they missed in the second half were uncharacteristic, and they're deeper. If they push the pace and knock down those shots like they typically do, I think the Pacers get the win tomorrow night in Game 4.
I took a little stab at the T-Wolves, +6.5, the number here at Circa. So 107-100, a little +6.5. Late night sweat for me on that one, Matt. As always, our best bets brought to you by G-Bank. And how about this offer? We're introducing the $500 trifecta from G-Bank, First Bet, and VSiN. All you need to do is open a G-Bank Visa Signature credit card. In the first 90 days, deposit and play through $1,000 at First Bet to trigger the $500 trifecta. You'll receive $200 in cashback rewards on your G-Bank Visa Signature credit card. First Bet will give you a $100 deposit match. VSiN completes the trifecta with a free VSiN Pro subscription through August 31st, which is a $200 value. That's a $500 trifecta from G-Bank, First Bet, and VSiN. Head on over to vsin.com/GBank, VSIN.com/GBank. This one-time promotion is limited to customers opening a new account in response to this offer and will not apply to requests to convert existing accounts. Apply today. Terms and conditions do apply.
All right, check in where we are here. 7 minutes ago, 7-point game, 107-100. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 31 points.
Over his player prop.
Yep, over. Chet Holmgren has 19. Jalen Williams, 26. Thunder, 14 for 34 from three, which is very good, 41% from three. The T-Wolves, 13 for 33 from three, 39%. Anthony Edwards, 12 points. He has been a lot more active here in the second half, but only 12. And Julius Randle, again. Randle disappeared in Game 2 of this series. He was great in Game 3. Tonight, again, not much from Julius Randle. 1 for 7 from the floor, 5 points. Looks like the T-Wolves are going to come up short tonight, Tim.
Matt Moore from the Action Network, who's a good follow at HP Basketball, points out what we were talking about. OKC's made every run-killer shot tonight, and it feels that way, Matt.
I kind of felt like the T-Wolves were also doomed right before the game when you said Screamin' A. Smith on ESPN picked Minnesota to win the game. And then Julius Randle, what was he doing?
He's sitting on the set.
He was clowning around on the ESPN set on the court 15 minutes before tip-off. Randle's been a no-show, and Screamin' A is going to blow another pick.
109-103 right now. Hoops Peterson, by the way, is going to have the final couple moments of this game for you coming up tonight, as this hopefully will be a good one. Anthony Edwards now 15 points, so he has 11 in the second half, but there you go again, SGA. Oh, I thought he was going to get a foul, Matt, so maybe we will get a little bit of life here. So I took a little snibble at the 6.5 here. By the way, Matt,
down
how about
to 3? It's 109-106.
How about this? Quick update. The Florida Panthers -107 here at Circa. So a very cheap number if you think the Panthers close it out. They did lose tonight 3-0. The Carolina Hurricanes were around a +155 dog. So, Matt, tomorrow, is taking the Indiana Pacers. We will be on the air watching that game as there is that three. The big ragu, Matt. Dante DiVincenzo. 5.5 to go. This game is not over yet. Should be a fun finish. As mentioned, Hoops Peterson will have that for you. Thanks to Johnny Avello, Matt Grissom, and Aaron Moore. Thanks to Justin and everyone behind the scenes. For Matt Youmans, I'm Tim Murray. Hoops Peterson's got you covered next right here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.